Hey everyone, how's it going? Kevin here, and you're watching Push to Talk. I just got finished watching this week's episode of AEW Rampage, so it is 11 o'clock here on the West Coast, and I'm a little tired, so I'm gonna try and power through this one so I can keep that content rolling. So let's dive right into it. Let's not waste any time and take a look at the first segment. The first match of AEW Rampage this week was Brian Danielson versus Nick Jackson. I almost said Nick Cage there for a second. I think that's because I'm excited about that GCW pay-per-view coming up where Nick Cage is going to fight Mox, but that's another video for another day. So Brian Danielson versus Nick Jackson. I was really excited about this one when they first announced this match. And it's kind of a little bit of clash of styles with Nick Jackson really being more of that kind of lucha libre style, obviously being more of a tag guy than a singles competitor, and then Brian Danielson being the submission artist that he is, with also his awesome strikes and awesome just moveset in general. Happy to see that this was the first match of the card tonight. I really like this trend of AEW starting off their shows with kind of the bigger marquee match. I think this is something really unique that AEW does, and it's a really cool way, yet another cool way that they're kind of differentiating themselves from the pack. So good stuff here. I thought this was a fantastic match overall. I think it's probably the best match out of the entire week that we've seen on AEW television. It was just, nonstop. The pacing of this match was absolutely perfect, and we got some really, really great spots and some really great logic here in how the match kind of played out as well. So a couple of notable moments here is we get a Romero special early on from Brian Danielson to Nick Jackson. I love seeing this move. I'm a big fan of Jushin Thunder Liger. He's one of my all-time favorites. So anytime I see this move, it makes me think of him, and it just is automatically good because of that every single time. When Brian Danielson has Nick Jackson in this move or setting up for the move, he's kind of grabbing at the face of Nick. Referee is counting. Danielson's just staring the referee down, and he gives him the I have till 5 moment, a little nod to his ROH days, which is great. We really see him wrestling more of that ROH style that he did back in the day here in AEW versus what we saw him wrestle in WWE. We get a great spot here when Brian Danielson has Nick kind of like locked in through the rope and kind of this interesting elbow lock. And when he's in there, Brian Danielson is just hammering in some forearms. I really liked this. I thought it looked really good. Everything Brian Danielson does looks really, really good, but this specifically looked fantastic. I was a big fan of this overall. Throughout the match, Brian Danielson is really showcasing his technical ability here. He's also throwing some really, really good strikes, but, notably, and I think what he's known for is kind of that submission style. This match really served as a reminder for how good he is at locking in these submissions, and not only just his technical prowess, but how painful he makes these submissions look. We get a lot of those moments where he's grinding the knuckles into the joint as Nick is in those submissions, and Nick is just reeling in pain. He makes this stuff look like absolute torture. A lot like how ZSJ makes his moves look really, really painful. Now that is a match that I would love to see, is Brian Danielson versus Zack Saber Jr. That is a 5-star classic just waiting to happen. We get a lot of great moments from Nick Jackson here as well. He's really showcasing, some of his great lucha style. But really the main focus on this match is Brian Danielson, obviously being the singles guy in this match. In watching this and watching Danielson's style and just kind of how he moves in the ring and how he puts moves together and the psychology that he uses in the matches, really puts a spotlight on the fact that this guy just totally belongs in AEW. He is the perfect fit for this promotion, which, as we know, focuses more on the pro wrestling aspect of professional wrestling, whereas WWE is more of that sports entertainment style. I'm really, really happy to see him here. He fits perfectly. We get a great moment in the match where Nick is delivering some really brutal kicks to Brian Danielson, and Danielson is just leaning into these kicks and eating them. They're really stiff, and they look like they hurt a lot. Once Danielson is up, he spits in the face of Nick Jackson, then starts delivering some strikes of his own. Danielson is able to put Nick down and then follow up with his own kicks. So great little bit of storytelling here with the two exchanging blows and exchanging spots. I thought this was great. We also have a really nice German suplex on the apron from Nick to Danielson. This actually happens after Nick dodges a kick from Brian Danielson, and Danielson ends up kicking the ring post. Once Nick hits that German suplex after Danielson kicks the ring post, they're back in the ring, and Nick immediately applies a sharpshooter. So I thought this was really great logic here. It made a lot of sense that he would apply a submission hold to the legs, kind of being an opportunist and taking advantage of Danielson kicking that post, just applying more punishment to the legs here. So I thought that was really smart, really great follow-up, and great psychology and logic. We have the match ending with Nick tapping out to the cattle mutilation. I forgot that he called this move the cattle mutilation. It reminds me of one of my favorite death metal bands, which is called Cattle Decapitation. That makes me laugh, and I love it. Once Nick taps, out comes the Elite to check on Nick. Followed by Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express. A fight ensues, and we get a chance of Kenny No Balls when Kenny Omega shows up. I thought that was funny. The segment ends with Cole in the snare trap from Jungle Boy and Omega in the label lock from Danielson. Each of the men tap out, and then we go to the commercial break. Overall, I thought this was great stuff here. It ate up like half of the episode of Dynamite, but that is okay. It really should have. That was really the focus of this episode. And again, I think this match was the best AEW match of the week. Not the best wrestling match of the week. I think that probably goes to New Japan, especially with, we had ZSJ versus Shingo Takagi. That was absolutely insane. There's really no topping that. But as far as AEW goes, I thought this match was absolutely fantastic. Best match of the week. Double thumbs up for these guys. We're back from the break, and we get a nice little promo package from Ricky Starks. He's calling out Brian Cage and driving around in a super sweet Maserati. Nice. We are back on commentary after the break now, and we have Ricky Starks on commentary. I don't like Ricky Starks on commentary. I think he's great on the mic and great in the ring, but for some reason him on commentary just doesn't do it for me. He's a little cringy, and I'm not a fan. He needs to go back to driving his Maserati and being just kind of a good heel in his promos. We also get a nice little promo package from CM Punk. I'm excited to see who he's going to face next. It seems that they are pitting him, obviously, against the younger, up-and-coming guys. My guess is that we're going to see something with him and Daniel Garcia and 2.0. I think that would be a great matchup. Daniel Garcia is really, really good in the ring. He is a great up-and-coming heel, and that seems to be what they're pairing CM Punk with. So fingers crossed there. I'm sure those guys will cross paths at some point. The next match, we have Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Thunder Rosa in the triple threat no DQ. Right off the bat with this one, we get a nice little showcase from Thunder Rosa, kind of showing what she can do. I think she's the best women's wrestler in AEW, maybe one of the best wrestlers, period, in AEW, really. I love Thunder Rosa. I think she's absolutely fantastic, and I would love to see her in that title picture. We do also get a brief face-off between Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose in this match. They only threw a few strikes, but I think there's really something to be had between these two. Obviously, both larger competitors with, that big muscular stature. I would just love to see them just throwing bombs at each other in a match. So I think there's something to be seen there. I hope we get a singles match between these two in the near future. We also get a nice power bomb off the apron through a table from Thunder Rosa to Nyla, which looked like it required a lot of strength, and it was a great spot. When Rosa rolls back into the ring, though, we have Cargill. She has a chair. She does a beatdown with the chair onto Rosa. The beatdown with the chair didn't look very good. I don't know how many chairs Cargill has swung in her short time here, but I don't think this looked very good. And she actually picks up the win here from this beatdown with the chair. This match was way too short. I wish they would have given them more time. I would have liked to see a little more violence, this being a no DQ match, especially with Thunder Rosa involved, because the last time we saw Thunder Rosa in kind of that no DQ style of match was when she was with Britt Baker, and they did thumbtack spots, and Britt was a bloody mess, and that was really what got her over with the fans, obviously, was that match. So I would have liked to see some more violence here, and I would have liked to see the match run a little bit longer. This one felt a little rushed, and it wasn't very good, unfortunately. From here, we get a nice promo from Malachi. He's one of my favorites in AEW, being a metalhead. I love this guy. He says he's done with the Nightmare family. I'm really excited to see where Malachi goes from here. Maybe he'll enter a feud with, Sammy. I was trying to think of, what young baby faces there are that aren't, currently in a feud that Malachi could feud with. The only one that I could really think of was Sammy, especially after just winning the title. But it looks like they're setting up some type of feud between Sammy and Men of the Year, especially with, Men of the Year being tied to Dan Lambert and that whole beatdown we saw on Chris Jericho a couple of weeks or 1 week ago. So that's obviously where they're going with that. But maybe we'll see Malachi and Sammy somewhere down the line. I'm not really sure, but I would really like to see that. Next up, we get the teaser for Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, and it actually looks like we're going to have Pac, Andrade, Mox, Lance Archer, and a Joker participant in the ladder match for the Casino ladder match next week. Winner of that gets a shot at the world title. I think the Joker is going to be Hangman Adam Page. I think it's time for him to come back and challenge Kenny for that title. But I don't know, it might not be the right timing here because it looks like Kenny is currently in a feud with Brian Danielson. Who knows, though? But I do think that payoff is eventually coming between Kenny and Hangman Adam Page. In the main event, we had Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans in the hair versus hair match. I did not like this. I did not expect much from this at all. But we did get a nice, actually pretty crazy 450 splash from Jack Evans onto Orange Cassidy from the ring apron to the floor. I thought that really looked really good. He hit that with a lot of impact. And Jack Evans, he's always flying all over the place. He's not my favorite wrestler in the world. I think he's a little bit too fly all over the place for my taste. And he's also just kind of a little cringy. Something about Jack Evans, I just don't like. Even when I watched him in Lucha Underground, which was my only real previous exposure to Jack Evans in the past, I never really liked him that much, but he was in this match. It was kind of a throwaway. We knew Orange Cassidy was going to win, which is what ended up happening. So at the end of the match, we get a face-off between the Best Friends with the Dark Order and HFO. This serves as a distraction, which causes Jack Evans to then turn and get nailed with an orange punch. I actually really like how Jack Evans took the orange punch in this match. He did that kind of flip inside-out move that you'll see when dudes take really wicked clotheslines. I thought that looked really funny. It did make me laugh, so I have to hand it to Jack Evans there. Orange Cassidy pins Jack Evans for the 1, 2, 3. Jack Evans gets his head shaved. not really that entertaining. It wasn't really for me. We close out the episode with the Best Friends and the Dark Order doing that Best Friends hug onto -1. I thought that was really cute and really sweet. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode of Rampage. I'm kind of glad that we're back to the 1 hour format after last week, because staying up till midnight for me these days is not easy to do, especially if I'm going to record a video afterwards. But, it is what it is. I think obviously the best match of the card was Nick Jackson versus Brian Danielson. I actually thought this was like a darn good match, best match of the week. Everything else was kind of throwaway for me, wasn't super exciting, but I am really looking forward to AEW Dynamite this coming Wednesday to see that ladder match. It looks like we're also going to get a big match with the Elite versus Jurassic Express, Christian Cage and Brian Danielson, so I'm excited to see all the interactions there, especially obviously between Kenny Omega and Brian Danielson, and anything between Adam Cole and Jungle Boy. Just sign me up. Those dudes put on a banger of a match on Wednesday, and I want to see them have more confrontation there. So anyway, I'll keep it pretty short and sweet, covering Rampage as it is pretty short and sweet. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all soon. I have a couple of analytical type videos set up that I think I'm probably going to record this weekend, or at least in the next coming days. So before my AEW Dynamite recap, you can expect to see at least one more video out of me in that more analytical, kind of a thoughtful style. So again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all soon, and I am going to bed.